Welcome to the Career Jitsu podcast. Today, I am going to ask a question. The question that I want to ask our listeners today is, what is your greatest strength from martial arts that you've been able to apply to your career? I think this is a great question about because today we are going to talk about somebody who has been able to use his greatest strengths in his career. He is a BJJ black belt. He is an academy owner. He also is a stunt actor and a fight choreographer. So this is going to be great. We're going to talk about cinematology and cinematic combat and Hollywood BJJ today. So this is going to be a great podcast. So thank you so much, Damian Tannenbaum. Thank you so much for coming out to see us.
Well, thank you for having me. So, Damien, first of all, I want to tell our listeners that you are definitely in for a ride because Damien's resume, as you just heard, is varied and it's different, it's unique. And we are so excited to be able to tap into that resume and your wisdom. So, I'm going to start off, Damien, with a question about your career. Like, talk us through your career path, how you got into you are a COO of a financial technology company. You do stunt work. You have your studio. You own your own gym. Tell us how all this, from the seed to the blossom, how did it all happen? Well, I mean, going back to when I was a kid, I was a street kid growing up in New York. I had no money. Moved from upstate New York to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, as the kid from New York. So you could just imagine as a skinny, scrappy little kid, I ended up getting in a lot of street fights. And again, still didn't have much money. So I wasn't, hanging with the rich kids or anything. I was able to wrestle, did get in a lot of fights. And then my mother was, a starving artist. So I totally rebelled against kind of the art world and wanted to be a banker. So my first, real professional job was Citibank customer service, 906 an hour, working second shift, answering telephone calls from American Airlines cardholders. And so right off the bat, I got that job. I started a junior college, and from that point forward, really just started focusing on, and I'll use kind of the white belt, the white to black belt mentality there of inside Citibank, just being everywhere I possibly could, doing everything I possibly could to learn. And I learned the foundation of a call center, of customer experience, and I took chances by, taking lateral career moves, learning different parts of customer experience is what it's called today. And over the course of 11 years, I was able to move laterally plus move up, but gain a real good understanding of call centers, which led me to bring my family at the time on an adventure to start a call center for some investors in the Philippines.
Wow.
So, yeah, so in 2000, I went to the Philippines, started a call center. I stayed there for a few years and ultimately, got out, had a little bit of a positive financial exit, and then joined a company in the US based on some relationships I had built along the way at Citibank, and started working for somebody else I knew at another company here in the US running their call center. And that company ultimately went public. I moved on to another company. And over the course of the next 20 years, every 4 to 6 years, I was fortunate enough to learn a little, move a little, learn a little, move a little, and just continue to advance in the financial technology customer experience world. And ultimately became a chief operating officer, chief customer officer, and was fortunate enough to have several financial exits, which were positive in nature.
Damn. Wow. Like you can just I could almost do a wrap up of that as far as the lessons that we learned from BJJ. You were just implementing all of these things, learning a little at a time, taking risks. But let me now ask you to switch gears and tell us about BJJ. How did you ever learn about it? What got you into it? And how long have you been doing it?
So the reality of BJJ is I got into it because I want to spend time with my child, my son. So I have three kids, but my oldest is a boy, and when he was around 10, 11 years old, he wanted to get into some kind of kickboxing martial art. And he had just started wrestling, and I wrestled as a kid.
And so we started going to a gym that had some kickboxing, and there were a few guys in the room off to the side doing jujitsu. And so instead of dropping him off at the door and watching, I took the classes with him and we started training together, doing jujitsu together. That led to us going to a bigger, more MMA focused gym. And as it goes, you know how there's lots of mat talk where you're laying on the mat after class, just talking to people. The guy who was teaching jujitsu wanted to start his own CrossFit and jujitsu academy. And I just happened to be in a financial position that I could help fund it. So, you know, we started our place in 2010. My business partner today has been with me since the day we started. So he was one of the three founders, and he runs day to day now. And it's just, you know, it's just a great business, and it all started because of spending time with my son.
That's
Damn.
awesome.
That's
That's
that's a
awesome.
wholesome that's a wholesome story.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jason, we have a few episodes where we talk about the power of jujitsu with your family and how it's a bond between a father and a son, or a mom and a son, or a daughter. It's such a bond to do. So, Jason, in the comments, you should link to those so people can see that how good it is for a family, right?
It really is, and I can tell you, when you think of a teenager at you know, at that point in time in their life, there's many choices, right? They can go hang out with their friends, they can start getting in trouble, they can hate their family, right? And kind of hang with the different crowds. My son loved working out, and we loved spending time together, so his friends would start come working out with him, and ultimately, the crowd he was hanging out with were the wrestlers and all the other people that liked being in shape. He went into the Marines, he became the fittest Marine, so he won the Ironman, all because of all his time
Wow.
that he spent at the gym training and becoming a better person, a better man. And at the
So,
same time, I'll go back to my career. I was traveling a lot for work. And so when you travel a lot for work as an executive, you kind of have two options, right? One option is you sit in your hotel room and you're really bored. The other option is you go out and drink with people and you kind of ruin your body and your life in many ways, you know, by spending a lot of time drinking. Somewhere around 2010 to 2015, my after hours activities shifted from going out and getting drunk and, you know, partying, to going out and doing jujitsu or doing CrossFit or kickboxing anywhere in the world that I was traveling for work. And it changed my life as well. So that's
yes,
kind
it's
of how it
such
comes together.
it
Another
really
example of jujitsu being a life-changing thing, you know? So when you started training jujitsu, then, you know, you ended up getting involved in stunt acting, right? So how did that come about? How did you get involved? Because like I'm thinking to myself, like every young boy, for example, right, has like these visions of being like a superhero. Like you're like this real live, like adult superhero. You can like act in movies and you can also do jujitsu. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's very interesting because about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, there was a Facebook post, and it was from somebody I had met at a gym doing jujitsu in Louisville, Kentucky, and they posted that, you know, "Hey, any of my gym friends wanna come out and help with a movie we're filming, low budget, no pay, but I'll give you lunch."
Okay.
So I called my son. I said, "Hey, let's go." So we went, got to do a real cool fight scene. And like, I had a great time, but my son, with that Marine mentality, hated it. He's like, "This is a total waste of time. I never want to do this again." But I really wanted to do it. I'm like, "This is awesome. I love it." About 2 weeks later, there was another Facebook post, and they were looking for extras to be in the Zac Efron movie where he plays Ted Bundy. And so I'm like, "What the heck? I'm gonna go and audition to be one of the prison guards." And it really wasn't an audition; they just needed background to stand there and hold the door or look mean. I'm like, "I can do that." And so I ended up doing that. But while I was on doing that, I got bumped up because I was Zac Efron's exact size, and I was able to take his handcuffs on and off during one of the scenes. And so, because of the way it all fit together, I was in like 5 or 6 scenes with him. I spent 4 days on set and just like got to
Wow.
learn a lot about what was happening. And I said to myself, "Hey, this is going to be my semi-retirement job. I'm going to start doing this more and more." And so I've now done over 70 films. And to your point, just if you go back to kind of started as a call center rep and was able to become a COO, started as a white belt, was able to become a black belt. Right now, I'm kind of a beginner purple belt when it comes to acting and stunt acting. And the only way to get better is to do it, right? The only way to get better on the mat is to get out there and spend time on the mat and learn and talk to people and move with people and practice, right? So I right now and have for the last 7 years and a lot more in the last 2 years, I spend a lot of time just getting on set as background, as a stand-in, as a day player, as supporting role, and also as a fight stunt coordinator. So I've now created some relationships with some really great stunt acting schools. And when possible, I go train with them. Or because I own a gym, I'm able to host them at my academy and
Nice.
offer stunt acting training now to people in Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, instead of them having to go to Atlanta or LA or New York.
That's awesome. Damien, you said you have in your academy, you said you have a 10,000 square foot building, right?
Yes.
And you have a BJJ academy, a CrossFit gym, and also a fight choreography studio or stunt acting studio?
Yeah. So we use the jiu-jitsu room is where we do our fight choreography and stunt training.
Okay.
I host a camp pretty much, every other month. And then what I'm also able to do is if a producer, let's just say you have an idea for a movie, and in that movie there's a fight scene that you want to happen. But you as a producer, you don't know how to make it look good. You just know you want a fight scene. So you could send me that script and I will review that script, look at it, and then block out the movements and even practice the movements on camera inside my academy and send it back to the producer and say, how's this look for a fight scene? They can give me feedback on it. We can tweak it. We can do it again. And then, it's up to them if they want to use me in that fight scene, if they want to have their, train their actors, or if their actors need help with the jujitsu move or the kickboxing move, I can train them on those moves.
So when you send them your like mock-up of this is your script, this is what I did, is it you and your people at your gym acting it out?
Sometimes, yes.
That is so damn cool. And sometimes they'll say, we want you and that guy to just do it for us.
Yeah, some what I've had happen 3 times now is I one actor there you have your star, and then on the way where that star is kind of near the end of the movie or sometime during a movie when that star has to make you have to make it through one of the bad guys to get to the other star. I'm one of the bad guys that they have to make it through normally.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
You
think
get to be the
I've
bad
lost
guy.
like
That's
50
awesome. You get to
fights.
be the bad guy.
Yes. Everybody wants to be the villain. But you know what? Did you ever just change the script and just beat up the guy and say, nah, you're not
No, you can't do
getting
that.
No, I'm sure you can't. So
Yeah.
here's just a goofy question. So most people who practice martial arts, probably boxers, kickboxers, jujitsu guys, wrestlers, a lot of times when we watch a movie and there's a fight, a lot of times, not all the times, we'll be like, oh, that's cute. Like that looks so cool, but really, that's not really the way it would look. Nobody really fights like that. When you do your scenes, are you making them more like cute and fun so they look cool on the screen, or are you really trying to make them legit, like real, like a little bit sloppy, legit,
Sure.
like a real elbow, like, and not the like flying kung fu moves and things that are a
Well,
little
so
less.
I think it kind of depends on the persona that you're trying to pull off in the movie, right? So that character's background. Are they former military and they're being attacked at a grocery
Okay.
store and they know what they're doing, so they're going to give you some real quick little movements and able to take out their assassin? Or is it a bar fight and it's two drunk people and they're swinging haymakers and the double leg takedown comes in and they smash through a table, right?
Right.
So a lot comes down to, and this is it's kind of a great question because it really comes down to the movie and the script and the backstory on those people that you're writing that scene for or that you're playing in that movie. And
Okay.
again,
Because
I want to be real clear at this. I'm a purple belt at that, right? So there's guys at ATL Stunts, there's guys at 87 North Action, Hugh Fitzgerald, and some experts at this. And I get with them when I can and I learn from them, but I can do it now for a lot of the mid-level budget movies. But you
yeah.
get to high-level budget movies, you're adding wire work, you're adding building falls, you're adding stairs, and things like that. So most of what I am going to do is under 10 beats in a sense of a punch, kick, fall. And obviously, because of jujitsu, I do what I can to throw in jujitsu moves. The
Nice.
challenge with jujitsu is a lot of that is close, right? You bury your head, you're gripping, and that doesn't sell good for camera. So what you have to do is back, kind of to your question, to make it look sexy or real, you have to do a little of both, right? So you might have to lift the head up before you then lock in a choke. And then when you're locking in a choke, you have to go head to head and look at the camera a little bit versus where you would kind of bury it and make your chest
Right.
big and squeeze.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
same with a punch, right? My hands, instead of being in a nice, Muay Thai stance or kickboxing stance, and my hands up, my hands have to be low so the camera can see my face. And my stance has to
That's
be square.
fascinating.
Yeah. And my stance has to be square, and my punches have to be, they have to start, kind of over by my ear a little bit in order to make it all the way around the plane of the camera, right? Because I've got to cross the line of the camera to where I'm hitting. So you can't do a quick little punch because it won't sell. So you might have to leave that punch out there a little bit longer and then bring it back. And I have to use my shoulders and my hips at the same time to throw
Right.
that punch.
Yeah, but because you're a martial artist, you understand the mechanics, so you can just really exaggerate the mechanics, really, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. You exaggerate the mechanics. Now the other person has to be on board there. One is your partner because it becomes a dance, right? And two, it's the camera guy. You have to know that camera guy has to know what positions to be in to sell it, right? Is it an over the shoulder shot versus, if he's diagonal to you and your punch is 2 feet away, you can see that based on the side shot. But if it's an over the shoulder shot, you won't even know it missed.
So
Cool.
it's
Frank,
really a
this
three-dimensional puzzle. It's a
Yeah.
three-dimensional puzzle that people
Yep.
don't even think about.
It's exactly it.
yeah, Frank, this week I think I wanna try this on the mats with you. I'm gonna get you, like, in mount, and then I'm just gonna lift up your head off the mat and just make it, like, really realistic, and then finish the choke, okay?
Yeah.
There you go.
I will let you work, Jason. I will let you work. Yeah,
Thank you,
we
Frank, I
should do.
appreciate that.
Yeah, hey, that's it. The brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody's journey. But Jason, we should do a little video, and we should send it to Damien,
I'd
like a
love to see
goofy.
it.
Let's
Yeah.
do that. Let's do
Yep.
like a scrap. All right,
Who
and
knows?
then we'll post it.
Maybe he can send it to one of the script writers and they'll like it. We'll see.
Imagine, and we get famous. That's great. We get pulled onto a movie. That would be so cool. But yeah, let's really make one, and we'll even post it for our viewers too. We'll put some cool music behind it.
And make sure
So
you get that camera guy involved because it's a lot's going to depend on where that camera guy is filming from. And you got to go
yeah.
do a shot and then go back and look at the camera, adjust it a foot over or try it again.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just when you're talking about that, Damien, I'm really thinking about jujitsu and how technique is like that, just over a little bit, just cut your angle a little bit. You could have finished that triangle if you just cut your angle, right?
Mhm.
So, it's similar to filming, right?
It really is. And again, and back to the progressions of jujitsu, it's the same progressions in life. It's the same progressions on film set. So it's the same progression in business, right? You don't just walk in and become COO. You don't just walk in and become a black belt, and you can't just walk in and be a stunt actor, right? I'm 55. I will never be a full blown stuntman, and I'll never be a full blown actor. I'm going to be borderline stunt actor. Give me those, 5 to 10 beat fight scenes. Let me take a punch or two and hit the ground, you know? So I'm probably not doing the good old Jackie Chan stuff, right? You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, do you think with
it's a
your
wild right. It's a double leg takedown, hopefully a mount and a punch. Maybe I can take the back and do a nice rear naked choke.
yeah, do
well,
you think
Jason, we were just we were debating what you would think is the coolest jujitsu finish for a movie. We were
yeah,
wondering what
like
you
what
think would be the best one
yeah,
for like
yeah, like a fight ending submission. Like
yeah
what would be a really good fight ender? Like a quick submission that would be like a nice fight ender.
Personally, I think the rear naked choke because you can see both faces in camera. You can see somebody, suck the life out of somebody really, and they drop.
Okay.
You see a lot of the flying arm bars, right?
yeah
You
yeah
see triangles sometimes doing it as well.
Okay.
any
Yeah, I mean,
guillotines.
Yeah, the problem with the guillotine though is that head's buried, right?
Oh yeah, I can
Yeah.
see the head.
It's all about FaceTime, right?
Yeah.
FaceTime.
A
The suplex
triangle you can
though, if
do
you
and you
got
can
the
still
if
see both faces. You can move it around. A guillotine, you get it, but you're gonna have to get that on their way in. And then what you might see is that lift up. So it looks like the neck breaks and then they just
Yeah,
flop to the
yeah, yeah,
ground,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and again, those camera angles, you gotta have those angles.
Yeah. But
yeah.
it's so much fun, guys. I mean, it's so neat too. And like sometimes I'll spend like 12 hours on set and the time just flies by because you're watching the camera angles. Somebody cares about the lighting. And then also don't forget in that fight scene, if you guys ever watch a show, and sometimes you'll see it's a big wide shot, right? So you can kind of see everything happening. And then they punch in and there's a whole other shot where it's one point of view. And then there's another shot where it's the other person's point of view. That wasn't that they did that one time. They probably did each one of those shots 3 to 5 times. So they probably did that fight 15 to 20 times just so you could see it for 20 seconds.
Damien, I noticed that like when in modern films now, there's a lot more jujitsu in films. Like, you know, I think like in previous years of movies that I've watched, there's a lot of striking and you know, if you think back to like Bloodsport and how dramatic it was and they were hitting each other and punching and kicking. But I did notice that a lot more films in modern times really do put in a lot of grappling. So do you think that that's like a trend and that that trend is great for jujitsu to get actors trained in jujitsu?
Yeah, I think it's a great trend. I do, and I look at Keanu Reeves. I mean, look at Tom Hardy, right? Look at all the actors that are well known for their love for jujitsu, and they're incorporating it into their fight scenes and their movement scenes. I think jujitsu makes you a better mover to begin with, right? You know your body better, and so even if you're not technically using a full blown submission, the limb manipulation that you get out of jujitsu with a shoulder lock, right? Or, even that collar tie and that snap down kind of from a wrestling side, all those things look really good on film and they were, everybody watching can relate to it,
Mm.
right?
Right.
So
It's kind of like the popularity of jujitsu makes it more appealing for the general audience because almost everybody knows something about jujitsu. Like I'm a high school teacher, all my kids know, almost every one of my students know what a rear naked choke is, and they all know what a guillotine is. They know what an arm bar is. Whereas if you went back 20 years, it would not be the case.
right. You go back to, the Kempo and the different types, stick fighting, right? But now you're seeing, more realistic based fights where they are punches, kicks, knees, elbows, takedowns, limb manipulation, back up, standing and escape, redo it. You see that all the time. And I think also there's a lot of stunt coordinators that are black belts in jiu-jitsu as well. So I think that that's helping because again, the movie world is looking for things and people that are truly skilled and can help the actors be better at those characters.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Fight choreography, you would think that everybody being trained in jujitsu is going to help all the way up the ladder. Yeah.
So I have a quick question for you, a little off kilter. When you're going to do a fight, when you're gonna actually be the stunt man in the fight, do you feel a level of anxiety similar to when you're gonna have like a competition role or you're gonna have a really hard role? Do you get any of that pre-jitter, butterflies, nerves that we all get in jujitsu sometimes?
Yes, and it's like, how when you're getting ready to go to, a competition, your IBJJF competition, and you did your weigh-in, and now you're in the area where everybody's warming up and everybody's starting to pace and everybody has their headsets in, and you're just trying to figure out, okay, what's my groove? Am I gonna just sit down and close my eyes? Am I gonna start pacing? You get that feeling, and part of it is, one, I gotta remember those moves.
Yes.
Yes. Right. And I also have to be 100% in sync with my partner here because neither one of us want to get hurt. We want it to look good. We want it to look real. And so our timing has to be together. And all these people are watching. It's not about the millions that are going to watch on TV or film. There's 40 people in that room watching. There's a director calling action. There's a lighting guy saying up cut or a sound guy saying, Damien, stop touching your mic.
Right, right. And
So
they want to
there's,
get this done. So you
yeah.
feel that pressure.
Yeah, you get that pressure and then you get out there and all of a sudden I can't remember my line, and it's high, but
Yeah.
my mind's thinking,
Of
okay,
your fight, right?
yeah. Or I, I get my jab and I throw my right, and now I'm stuck for 1 second. I can't remember what I'm supposed to do. And because of that, now my partner's off. And I can't make him look bad because he's the star. So it's always going to be my fault.
Right. So it's dealing with a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And if the partner forgets a move, remember the people watching don't know that we forgot a move. So you kind of have to quickly improvise. Maybe it's just a quick push off and then come back into your fight. But you might have to improvise because the people watching don't know what a move was.
Right.
But you have to work with your partner and make him look good.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I would imagine that a mistake can actually be a good thing, right? You roll with it and you flow with it, and sometimes it can turn out better than what you had preordained.
Yes. And then guess what? So let's just say you do that. You then have to probably do that same thing another 15 times for all the different camera angles. And you have to remember, what mistake did I make? So all of a sudden now, everything you remembered from before, you got to tweak it.
Yeah. So that old fashioned like take two, take 100, you know?
Yes, exactly. Now, back to your point though about like being good at jujitsu in real life. If we understand our bodies, you kind of understand what the next natural movement should be. So if you put yourself into the actual position of that character and you understand their background and you understand what training they're supposed to have, and then you couple that with your own real world experience as a jujitsu guy, as a kickboxer, so on, you're probably in better control of your own body and can adjust to those movements and naturally understand what to do next.
Makes total
Wow.
sense. The body mechanics, right? The flow and the
Yep.
body mechanics that we learn in
Yep.
jujitsu.
Yeah, a
But
lot
you
of
go,
moving pieces, right? So like you have all of these moving pieces going on between the cameras and the fight angle and the actors and communication of what's going on. All those moving pieces. Do you relate that to jujitsu? Like, because I know like all of those moving pieces when you're filming, they're all in real time. It's not like you have time to think. You actually have to adjust and make your accommodations as you go. Do you relate that to to jujitsu? Like in sparring, there's a lot of moving pieces in sparring too, right? And you have to act in real time, right? So can you relate that for our listeners?
yes, yeah, 100%. So it is truly so first of all, you got two parts to that. The first part normally for me is that foundational movements, the structure of how I would normally move, fairly slow, fairly tight, controlled. But then as you start to go and you start to learn it, you loosen up a little bit, you start to breathe normally, and then you're able to kind of flow with your partner. So again, if you think of jujitsu when you're first learning it, right? You're a white belt and you're holding your breath, and it might be a collar and you're just squeezing it as hard as you can, and then you're grabbing the wrist and you're pulling as hard as you can, but you're not getting anywhere, right? But then as you start to move up the ranks and you understand things a little bit better, you can start to flow with your partner, your grips don't get as sore, you're breathing better. That is just like being on set. So, yeah, first you got that, everything's built up inside of you and you're squeezing, you're not breathing. Something happens and you start to feel comfortable and you're like, okay, I got this, we got this, let's flow.
Right.
Right.
Being the water, learning to be the water, right?
There you go.
Well,
H2O.
Bruce Lee said that, and he was an actor too. So
Yeah.
See?
Well,
Yeah.
and look, I'll take it to the next step. Success builds success, iron sharpens iron, right? So a lot of times, if you're a big name actor, you want to work with somebody who's a good stunt guy in a fight scene that's gonna help make you look good. So that iron sharpens iron too, because again, you're gonna step up typically to who you surround yourself with, right? Whether that's at work or on the mats, if I'm going against some brand new people, I'm probably not going to be trying to choke them out, trying to submit them. I'm going to work with them. I'm going to go down to their level and just be a tiny bit better. But if I'm training with some of the best in the world, then I'm going to step it up and just, suck it up and do my best to be as technical and as fluid as possible. Right.
Absolutely.
So I think that the acting and the stunt acting is that same mentality that iron sharpens iron.
Right. Right. And you're moving up in your purple belt with that.
Yeah, and again, I'll tell you, last week I was in Atlanta. I was a stand-in on Tulsa King, and I was background on another film. And the second I was done filming, I was at ATL Stunts practicing timing on punches, practicing some wire work just to get better.
What is wire work?
Where you have a harness on and you have a wire, so you can do like a nice impactful punch to the chest and your stomach caves in and a wire pulls you back and you fly through a wall or through a window
I
or through
didn't know
boxes.
that.
Wow.
So you've
Yeah.
done wire work? You've done that?
Yeah, but just practicing, because you never know. I might be on set and somebody says, "Hey, I want you to take a side kick to the stomach, and when you do, we're gonna jerk you back 20 feet."
So I never even knew that's how they did that,
Yeah,
when they fly through the air.
exactly. Yeah, I posted something on my Instagram about the training. It's actually pretty cool because I punch a girl in the stomach, she flies back. Then a girl goes to kick me, I catch her leg, and I just throw her up against the wall. But you can see the wire is actually doing it.
Can you send us that link and we'll include it
Yeah.
in this show so
Yep.
our listeners, our viewers can see that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Again,
Frank.
it's purple belt level stuff here, not
Yeah. Frank, I'll
I
grab you
think
by
that's
the back of your
incredible.
belt, on the mats when we're on the mats. Next time, I'll grab you by the back of your belt and I'll just yank you as hard as I can into the wall so you can feel the effects of it,
Yeah.
Jason,
Put some boxes up
I
too, so he flies through the boxes.
I have an answer to that, Jason, but because I'm a teacher, I'm gonna hold that to myself.
There you go.
I'll tell you afterwards.
But so just back to the point of jujitsu and grappling. When I went to LA 3 weeks ago, I was filming in LA. The same thing I did on my way there. I sent Hugh Fitzgerald a note from 87 North. I'm like, hey, can I come train with you guys? And he is a fourth degree black belt. He worked with Keanu Reeves on some of his jujitsu for film. And same concept there is I'm getting in there. I'm like, Hugh, help me get better. What can I do with my timing, with my movement, with my jujitsu so it looks better on film? And again, another guy who, just like jujitsu, he's like, come on in, let's work together with our team.
Yeah. And there's a
And
lot
he
of
welcomed me onto his mats.
right. That's awesome. You had the jujitsu experience and then the acting. And then there's also people who had the acting, people who are even Hollywood star actors now are training in jujitsu.
Exactly.
What who are some of them? I know I've seen Russell Brand is one. Can you name some others? Do you know any others that are were
Yeah, I mean,
celebrities first?
yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the one that pops into mind simply because he's been in my gym before is Tom Hardy right off the bat.
Well, yeah, right. Tom Hardy. Yep, yep.
Yeah. You've got, Freddie Poole, stunt double for Tom for Sylvester Stallone for a while. And Tulsa King, he's, BJJ black belt, helps teach people. There's just a ton of them. I mean, and it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you think I think there should be a stunt performers Oscar. They should have an Oscar for a stunt performer, don't you think?
Yeah, they just started actually awards on it. And if you go back and you watch like The Fall Guy, like how cool was that movie, right? When you
Yeah.
look at when they were highlighting all of the different stunt actors and the falls and the things that they do.
Yeah, they don't get enough credit.
No. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not technically a stunt person. I'm a stunt actor. So that means I'll take roles that have action and I can do my own stunts.
Right.
And I help coordinate same thing, fight scenes and stunts and even tactical scenes.
Have you ever smashed through glass? Like,
Fake glass, yes.
you've done that?
Yes.
That looks like so much fun. Is it really sugar glass? Is that what it is? Sugar glass? When you
Yeah.
go through a
I don't
window?
know what it's called, but you gotta hit it right. It breaks away, right? I mean, you gotta go through it right. It still takes a little bit of pressure.
Make sure you send us a few clips of some of your favorite scenes so we can show our
I
viewers.
can do that.
That would be great. We'd love to see you in
Yeah.
action.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and actually it's funny. So I mean, again, look, I do everything from background where I've been pushed in a wheelchair for 2 seconds through a scene on The Resident to where I've, spent 15, 16 minutes in a full length film talking, getting beat up, killing myself, whatever it is that I have to do to make the scene work. I'm that D player actor that does what he needs to do, right? I'm the beginner purple belt.
Always
you mu
humble.
You must enjoy being able to do the fight choreography stuff in your academy. I mean, do a lot of your BJJ students come and participate in some of the fight choreography stuff that you do in your studio?
So, it's funny. So, funny story. Um, I host the camps as well, right? And I only get two or three of our BJJ guys really want to be involved in it. normally it's people from other places, and as weird as it is, it's dancers, it's theater people, it's people who have experience with like parkour and tricking,
Okay.
and not as many of the guys doing jiu-jitsu or CrossFit that actually want to be involved. So I think on my end, I have to do a better job kind of selling it to my own gym, because I normally it's people from out of town that come in because they want to be an actor.
I feel
Yeah.
like everybody at our gym would be all in for something like that.
Yeah. Heck,
If you
come
ever
out. You
want to
know what?
film, come down to see us.
Yeah, that's right, Frank. We're gonna have Damien come in, and we're gonna host a night where he's gonna teach us all some fight choreography.
And we will give
The
you
whole the
all
That'd
whole
be
gym.
awesome.
we'll give you all the footage you need. You'll have a whole bunch of people that would want to do that in our gym.
That's great. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, we should definitely do something like that. That would be so much
Damien,
fun.
who do you think is the actors now that are fight actors, the stunt actors now? Who's your favorite? Do you have a top or even a top three?
I'll go with Tom Hardy because of his all around, his ability to sell a scene, his ability to improvise, his ability to get emotional.
Okay, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you watch Reacher, right? He's just a big guy, so when you watch him strike and move, it looks good. There's just so many, and it kind of depends on what you're watching at the time.
Yeah, it really makes sense. Like, the emotional connection that you have to create with your audience, right? So, the best fight actors, I'm assuming, the ones that can really emotionally connect to their viewers, Am I
Yeah,
right?
because you can't have a fight just to fight, or you can't have an action just for action. It's got to match the character, right? And I think that that's sometimes you get lost in something, and I'll watch a movie and like you see this giant fight. I'm like, I don't even remember why they were fighting or what happened, and it looked like they just inserted a scene for no reason. You know, but I do like when you see the characters struggling and something happening, and now they're outside and somebody's trying to rob them, and it turns out that they're just a badass and they're able to just totally destroy the guy that walked into this situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's nothing more satisfying that people like to watch than instant karma. People love that. When there's that
Yeah.
instant karma, some just mean, vicious jerk, and it looks like the guy's not going to be able to defend himself, and all of a sudden he's like a boxer or a wrestler, and
Yep.
people
The
love those
accountant,
scenes. They
right?
that never
What time, Frank? What time is it, Frank?
Well, let me check my watch. It's tap out time. Your favorite time of the program where I wrap up all the gems that we talked about and give it to you to take out of the show. Tap out time. Backed by popular demand with a little twist. So, as you can see, I got tons of notes here. And one of the things that I really appreciate about you, Damien, is that you came from a very humble beginning. You said you said in your own words, you came from nothing. You were like a street kid, always scrapping on the streets, probably rougher areas, getting in street fights. Your mom was a starving artist. And I just think it's amazing that you took a pretty long journey to get from that to COO of a company to owning your own, being a partner or owning your own gym that has jujitsu and stunting in it. And I loved the way that you outlined your steps, which is the exact same outline as jujitsu. You said it yourself. Sometimes you would be moving laterally. You're like, I just got to move. I got to learn laterally. That's not even the 1% that we always say in jujitsu. 1%. You're like, I'll take no percent. I'm just going to move to the left and learn something new and see where that gets me. And you did a lot of lateral movements, but your tenacity all ultimately left to some little hops that went to bigger hops. And then you had your own call center in the Philippines. And that brings me perfectly to, I think, one of the overarching themes that you really showcased was the power of relationships. And listening to your story, I called out that almost every one of your opportunities came from a relationship. Some guy from jujitsu that you were rolling with said, "Hey, I'm going to do some stunting. There's not any money, but come and have some fun." And you fell in love with that. And how somebody from the mat said, "I would love to open a place. I just can't get the finance." And you're like, "Well, hey, I would love to do that too. And I actually have the financing." And almost everything that you had came from a synergy of relationships. And I think that's just a beautiful thing to talk about. Jiu-Jitsu really does give you that community. You can go to another country, join a Jiu-Jitsu gym, and you're going to have a group of people that you can socially network with and professionally network with, as long as you are fluid and being the water and seeing what comes up. I thought that was a great overarching theme for you.
You've got to be the guy that people want to be around, right? Whether I'm on set, if I'm on set, I want to be in the right place at the right time and always be watching and always be ready to jump in. If you're in the gym and you're on the mat and you're training and you're rolling, you don't want to be the guy that's hurting everybody, and you don't want to be the little wimp sitting in the corner, right? You want to be the guy that can flow with anybody. In business, you want to be the guy that can attend any one of the meetings, attend any one of the events, and be somebody that people want to be around with. People be somebody that people want to like and want to emulate in some way.
I like that. ABR, always be ready, right? ABR, always be
Yeah.
ready and always be the kind of person that you would want to hang out with, you would want to work with. That's great. Great. Like that's the golden rule right there. Some of the other things, I like that you said you went from going out to partying to going out to work out, going out to, I probably shouldn't talk too long about this, but I just read, and I'm really interested in hearing what our viewers think about this. I subscribe to a newspaper that's a little bit liberal. It's a great newspaper. It's called El País. It's from Spain. They had this whole article critiquing exactly what you just said, this whole culture, and they actually opened up the article with a guy on Instagram saying, "Hey guys, I'm going to skip the beers this week and I'm going to go to the gym and get some work in." And the article critiqued this as this cult of men who take ice baths and ice showers and have to go to the gym and eat protein, and how toxic this was for the culture of man. And I was thinking, wait a second. Somebody saying I'm not going to drink, I'm going to work out. Somebody saying I'm going to eat a little extra protein, and you're criticizing this in society. I really want to hear what our listeners have to say, because I love that you do that, and I hate that that kind of behavior is being shamed today in really reputable journalism. So that just, when you said that, I like that you said that, and I think it's a healthy thing, and that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. So when I look at it, I think I totally agree with your opinion. I mean, if you're going to go, you can still have fun, right? I have fun at the
Yeah,
gym. I have fun hanging out, talking to those guys. Yeah, I'll still go have a drink here and there, but my life is more about being professional, being an expert at things, becoming better at stuff, and sitting around drinking kind of doesn't help you be better at stuff.
right,
Right.
right.
So I think I was talking to Rafael Lobato Jr., right? I was at his camp, and he's been here a few times. And, his focus is on, he's over 40. He's still training hard. He's been a black belt longer than he's been doing, more than half his life. And his focus is on do something good for your body every single day.
Love it. I
And
absolutely
if you're
love it.
out drinking, you're kind of not doing something good for your body.
Right.
I'm not saying don't have a drink, but
Exactly. It's about balance and focus.
yeah.
And people don't get that. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm curious what our listeners are thinking about that. Just really quickly, a couple of other things that you said. I like the way you talked about adaptability when you're doing your movie and your scripting, and in jujitsu, you really, the smallest little technique shifts. And Jason, you talked about this too. I thought this was great. Just an inch here, a centimeter there, a different camera angle, all of that being adaptable and trusting your technique. I think that is a great recipe for success.
And add that to your work, right?
And yes,
Add that to your work, being the guy that says, "Yeah, I can," versus being the complainer.
we could do a whole podcast on that. That's so much wisdom right
Yeah.
there. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is I like the way you describe being an actor and a stunt person, has having many moving pieces with a lot of pressure with other people watching, the clock's ticking, the dime, right? You're building up that dime, and you staying calm under that mental and physical pressure to trust your foundational training, your body mechanics, and your mind to work together to deal with that pressure. And every guest we've had on has said the same thing, that jujitsu helps you do that. Whether it's surgery, whether it's physical therapy, whether it's mechanic, or whether it's stunting, right? It's stay calm, trust your training, flow like water, and breathe.
So I have that one saying is train hard, work smart. Right? To your point there, if you have prepared yourself through the training, through the lateral moves, through the career pathing, through the time on the mat, through the time training in stunts, or through experience at work, when it comes time for something hard to happen, you're going to be able to be smart. You're going to be able to get through it, because
Yes.
you're going to fall back into that zone and say, wait a minute, I've been through much harder.
Yes.
I can do this. I know what I'm doing. I've got the foundations. I've got the experience. It's just time to execute.
Dead on. Amen. Amen and hallelujah to that. Damn, Jason, we got a lot of this is a
Yeah,
great
e
episode.
absolutely. I feel like, Damien, I feel like you are, a guy that experiences ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese secret to living a joyful life. So it's doing what you love, doing what you're good at, doing what you can get paid for, and doing what the world needs. And I feel like you've found your ikigai. So congratulations.
Thank
Wow.
you, guys. It's
Yes,
based on
yes.
this discussion. So have you guys.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate that. You know, wisdom recognizes wisdom. So we've all learned a lot on the mats and in our lives. And I think it's great that we have this forum to share that.
Yeah, Damien, can you share with us, with our listeners, our viewers, some of the films that they can look out for to see you in? Because, they've heard a lot about stunt acting and jujitsu, and I am sure that a lot of our listeners and viewers are going to be interested in seeing you in action.
Yeah. So the film that just came out on the 3rd is called Sensor Addiction. And again, so one of the challenges here, I'll say the good and the bad here is, you'll see me in the movie just a little bit, but I spent 8 days helping choreograph a lot of the movements that you see some of the main actors doing. So, the behind the scenes on that movie is probably the most important. When they're storming a warehouse, carrying the guns, how they're doing it, the timing of their falls, and of course some of the action scenes. Now there's some fairly big stars in there that, may do what they want, may do what they know, but it was a partnership in getting to that end result with them.
So,
So that's one. There's a called Charisma Killers also that came out. That's already streaming on Netflix. A Scarf for Joey is already streaming. One where I just kind of play a mafia henchman and I end up getting my throat slit in the restroom while I'm taking a pee.
Wow.
Heard a dish best served cold. Should be streaming any day now, sometime in the next month or two. And I play a district attorney, so I have a lot of lines. And ultimately, there's a twist to it, and I end up having to kill myself.
brutal.
Wow.
Brutal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And then
will you just send Jason maybe your like a list, just a short list, and we can post it.
Yeah.
We can promote you. We'll promote you and
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you very
yeah,
much.
we would
Yeah,
love to help
we'll
you.
put it in the description of this episode for our listeners. Just click back into the description of this episode. We'll have on the bottom there, we'll have some links to all of these great movies that Damien has had a chance to be in.
Yes, definitely. And also we want to do a shout out to our listeners. You guys have really made this podcast last and we continue to grow. I mean, look at the guests we're getting. We're getting these amazing people. And that's because you guys are sharing our podcast. And when you share it, more people see it. And then people contact us and say, I want to be on your show. And we get great talent for you. So to our listeners, thank you. We appreciate you. Keep sharing, drop some hearts, write some comments, and give us your thoughts.
Right. Any final comments, Damien?
See you guys on the mats.
Yes,
Right.
come visit
Awesome.
us. I
Yeah,
want
we
to roll
always
with
Frank, give
a
him the
stunt
invite,
man.
Frank.
What's that?
You like to give him the invite. Let's give him the invite.
Yes, you Team Link, Webster, Massachusetts. Anytime you want to come here, you're welcome. We will host you. Any one of us will host you at our home, and then you can roll with us. And if it's on the weekend, we'll take you into Boston. Boston's about an hour away from us by car.
Yeah.
So we would
Love it.
love to.
I had a condo there for a while. I worked for a company at 1 Federal Street in Boston for about
Nice.
4 years. It was a great place to stay and live and train.
Yes. So you were in Boston.
Yeah. I was in
Man.
Medford. I was actually in Medford
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
And worked in Boston.
Nice.
Wow.
Very nice. So come back to your old haunting grounds and come see us. We'd love to see you. We'll roll with you. We'll do some fake fighting. We'll get some video and we'll have a great time.
Sounds great. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank
Great
you
show.
so much. All right, everybody. So there you have it. We promised and we delivered with a lot of golden nuggets of wisdom. We'd like to thank Damien one more time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it. And make sure you keep tuned in to our show. We love our listeners. Peace out.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Damien.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Be good.